Hi friends, my name is Trish Roberts and you're watching Faint Signals from Vega. This is sort of something about that I find a little bit problematic with certain celebrities, and that is this equivocating on veganism. Like for example, Russell Brand. It's been a few years now I've been on and off watching him, and he was constantly equivocating about whether to be vegan or not be vegan, and working on it and all this sort of stuff. I mean, at some point you just have to sort of stop the nonsense and just become vegan. The scientific evidence is clear that animal agriculture is destroying the planet. There was a huge research study done through the UK of about 40,000 farms from farm to fork and all of that. I'll post a link in the information section, and it was very clear that the evidence was very clear to the scientists that we need to avoid dairy and meat. Avoiding dairy and meat is the single biggest thing we can do to address climate change. So, you know, when you have evidence like that and then you just realize you know, like Russell Brand should know by now, because he's probably got enough friends who don't eat animal products, that animal products, we don't need them to survive. We can easily meet all our nutrition requirements from plants and other non-animal sources. So the only reason we're eating them is because of habit, tradition, pleasure, and convenience. And that's morally unjustifiable. There's delicious plant-based foods everywhere. There's literally gazillions of recipes online that we can, of vegan recipes online we can use. There's more and more vegan pre-made products if you want that. I don't use them. Commercial vegan products, really, only very rarely. But we don't need them at all to survive. So, you know, why are we destroying the planet and the lives of other sentient beings, 1 trillion land and aquatic sentient beings every year, if we don't need these animal products? I mean, seriously, is our taste pleasure more important to us than the lives of 1 trillion plus aquatic animals and land animals every year, plus the dreadful effects of climate change, which is animal agriculture is significantly, probably arguably the biggest contributor to greenhouse gases and to the destruction of land and biodiversity and all kinds of things. It's a massive contributed to dead zones. It's wiping out the Amazon rainforest. Some say at an acre a minute for animal agriculture and for growing soy for animal agriculture. I mean, seriously, you know, how much do we have to, how many scientific reports do we have to ignore, either nutritional ones or environmental ones? I mean, really, how sad are we that this is what it takes? I mean, Russell Brand should know better by now, and he keeps conflating vegetarianism and veganism. They're not the same. Animal organizations do this. They conflate vegetarianism and veganism. One's an ethical position, and vegetarianism is we're still eating, wearing, and using animals when we're vegetarians. So it's not a solution. It's not good for other animals, of course, and it's not good for the planet and the environment and climate change. It's not good for it. So let's stop doing that, shall we? Conflating the two. The other thing is veganism is not a diet. It's an ethical position which rejects using animals for food. That's dairy, eggs, meat, honey, etc., clothing, wool, fur, silk, leather, etc., entertainment, and other reasons. Because they're sentient. Because sentient animals are not our resources. This is what veganism is. And it's not some sort of, extreme thing. It's not a religion. It's not a cult. It's not daunting. It's not elitist. It's not a sacrifice. So, you know, when people like Russell Brand, who are constantly talking about non-violence, I like Russell Brand. I think his heart's in the right place. But he keeps raising veganism and then sort of downplaying its importance, or sort of, it's like he doesn't even really understand what it is. How could he, for somebody who's always researching stuff, which he does, how could he not know what it is by now? If you're leaving it up to information by animal organizations or mainstream media, of course you don't know what it is, because they present it in very morally confused ways. So, you know, this is a plea to Russell Brand to stop that, and please find out what it is, and then just for goodness sake, stop equivocating and just go vegan. If you're for non-violence and justice, then just go vegan. It's really not difficult. And I think we're at this point in time where we don't have time for any more silly, waffly excuses. This is why I'm being a little bit more strident when I talk about this now, because we really are at this point now. I think we're in a position now where it's too late and we're sort of heading for extinction. But I'm willing to keep on trying to get people to go vegan and to keep on being anti-war and anti-imperialism. And, you know, because it's important we keep on trying to improve the lives of others, even if we are on our way out. And the most important reason to go vegan is because non-human animals are not our resources. They love life just like we do and do not want to die. And just because they're another species doesn't mean we have the right to use them. Just like other races, we don't have the right to enslave people just because they're a different race and they're not white, for goodness sake. You know, so it all comes from the same attitude that we otherize groups, like we otherize species, we otherize races. So that's what all I wanted to say. I just watched this thing by Russell Brand about another one that was mentioned veganism, and he just conflated it with vegetarianism, and he sort of downplayed its importance, and, you know, and called it a diet and all this. I mean, seriously. I think he knows better than that by now. And people should know better than that by now. There's more than enough information now online. Watch Cowspiracy. Watch this documentary that's coming soon, Seaspiracy, which shows the absolute devastation of our that happens because of our consumption of sea animals, sea sentient animals, ocean animals, etc. That'll be a real shocker. I don't think I can watch it because I hate seeing aquatic animals suffering and dying. But I think anybody who's not vegan and who's still consuming, or who's a pescatarian and thinks that's a good thing. No, it's not. It's not a good thing. We need to stop telling lies to ourselves. I saw yesterday the UN, the head of the biodiversity in the UN, says that we have to do something about biodiversity in the next 2 years, or it's going to be more daunting and more catastrophic than climate change. I'll leave a link to that. 2 years. Do you think governments are going to do that? No. What can we do? We can go vegan, and because we're driving many, many species to extinction through our consumption of animal products, because of the amount of land and all the awful byproducts of slaughterhouses and of animal production and all that kind of thing. And of course the methane, just the whole thing. There is so much that's wrong. Watch Cowspiracy. Just go to cowspiracy.com, cowspiracy.com, and find out why. Go and watch that documentary. See online for the Guardian article from the May 31st. It's called Avoiding Dairy and Meat is the single biggest thing we can do to address climate change. The Guardian from May 31. Read that. It's got that report on that research, the biggest research to date, investigating 40,000 farms. Read that and see the outcome. The result of that research, and this person who did it wasn't vegan, is to stop consuming dairy and meat. That's the main thing. This is real science. It's not pretend stuff, right? It's not, instigated by vegans or anything. It's real scientific reports. Let us stop. I'm going to say this over and over again. Anyone who is wringing their hands about the imminent extinction, or wringing their hands about climate change, about land masses going under, about climate refugees, and so forth. Anything that's related to climate change, if you're wringing your hands about it and you are not vegan, and I prefer you be vegan for the right reasons, for non-human animals, because they're sentient and we don't have the right to use them. But you can start off by just recognizing that we're going to kill ourselves and other animals, other species on the planet. And it's in our hands. We can do something right now and go vegan. We can do something right now instead of wringing our hands and going, oh, I wish the oil industry would stop. Or let's turn off lights, or let's recycle and all this kind of stuff. Let's stop fracking. Let's end capitalism. Stop having children. All those things, yes, they're all sort of good things, but a lot of that is almost impossible at this point to stop. Breeding, people just breed. Capitalism, it seems to be turning into fascism. We can all do our best to address these things, but you can, as I say in other videos, you can chew gum and walk at the same time. You can be vegan right now and do something that's tremendous for the environment and for other animals. Right now. You don't need to wait for corporations to do the right thing. That's not going to happen. Inverted totalitarianism. Look it up. Capitalism is inextricably mixed with imperialism. And you can be an anti-war activist, but you can be vegan. I mean, if we truly say we're against nonviolence, what are we doing eating animal products that we don't need to eat? It's killing us and killing 1 trillion plus other animals every year and destroying the planet. And we don't need to eat them. What on earth are we doing? Do you know what I'm saying? That's nuts. So let's stop doing it, shall we? Please, let's stop denying science. There's more than enough real science now. I'm amazed and kind of appalled at these otherwise intelligent people. Put a little meme up the other day which said, everybody, lots of people sort of concerned about climate change until you mention veganism, and then convenience, tradition, habits, and pleasure matter more. It's true. They're all worried about it until you mention veganism, and then all those insignificant and fluffy excuses start to appear. I mean, seriously. People value animal products more than their own survival and the survival of our species and other species. Personally, I think, without a hint of misanthropy, I think our species needs to go. I think it's done more than enough damage, and it's there's an inherent violence in us. We need to otherize and dominate. And I don't know if that will ever go away. And so in some ways I believe it's really, this planet needs to see the end of our particular species. I think we are a real problem. There's no denying it, really. But we're going to have to, we need to go, if we're going to go out, which it looks like we are, we need to do the right thing and stop torturing and killing other animals. Let's try and do something that's really beneficial for ourselves, spiritually and in a non-violent sense, and for other animals, Finally, let's do the right thing and just stop using them. And all these celebrities that just don't seem to know what veganism is, for goodness sake, find out what it is before you start yapping on about it. I really get tired of celebrities that know nothing about the topic they're talking about, getting a center stage on media for millions of people and talking about stuff, and they don't, politically, most celebrities are completely nowhere. And they're talking about, you know, duopolies in the United States and voting blue no matter who and all this kind of nonsense. This is how we ended up like this. Anyway, one of the reasons anyway. So anyway, I implore people to stop wringing your hands about climate change. I don't want to hear it anymore if you're not vegan, if you're still eating animal products and using animals. My name's Trish Roberts. You're watching Faint Signals from Vega. Till next time, bye for now.